Hi everyone. I thought I'd make a video showing how to export your assessment to Greybox. That should have your menu that you've already set up and everything, and you'll want to bring that into your groups project. So the way to do that is you must select the scene that you want to export into the groups project. Selecting this one, it doesn't matter what scene is open actually. You could select this scene as well. If you don't select a scene, I'll show you what happens. So we would go to Assets, Export Package. That will show everything here. It will actually prepare an export of everything in your project. You don't want that. You just want to control what is actually exported out of each scene. So seeing that I know that this scene is what I want to export, I would make sure that I'm happy with it. This is typically what a Greybox would look like if you had a level where you needed to get from one end through to the other end. Everything's boxed out. I've just placed what would be the character as a capsule where I think they should be. And that would, of course, correspond with what you roughly did in Assessment 2. So selecting this scene in the Project Files window, I would then go to Assets, go to Export Package. You'll see that you have this scene. This one's called Yellow Capsule. And everything that is dependent. So all these materials will be included in that file, that folder. If I didn't have include dependency, they won't be. It'll just be what I selected. So if you just wanted one file, you would untick this, but I recommend for the whole scene and everything in it to bring it all in, and that will include the menu system that you have set up in your hierarchy for that scene, included as a dependency. You simply click Export, and then you would add it here. So I'm just going to call it Dungeon Run. Greybox. So when I go to look for it later, I'll be looking for Dungeon Run Greybox. That exports everything. A window will pop up and show you where it is. And then we'll go to the next stage of this, which will be importing your package into the group project. So everyone would have gotten an invite to a repository, everyone in my classes, and they should be down the left-hand side of GitHub. This is on their website. So you can just click up here and this will appear here. You'll probably have one or maybe many if you're used to GitHub. If you are used to GitHub, you'll know that when you go into the repository of the group Unity project, you'll be able to click on the code drop down and get the URL. This will of course be where you clone your repository from through your GitHub desktop app, which will be through File, Clone Repository, go to URL, paste it in here. I already have one in there, so you would have to choose a folder that you will remember. Let's choose A3, select folder, then you can clone it. From there, you would go into Unity and add and go and find where that clones to. So let's say you've just cloned for the online group here, and then you would just open that and you should get, there it is there. You would click on that and it would open up. Once your group project has opened up in Unity, then you would want to make a folder for yourself and put your name on it. So here you can see a mock-up of a team of 4 people so far, and I'll add myself to it. So it's a team of 5 in this scenario. I'm giving you an example where they also have a main menu folder. And I've also put in a packages installed folder just so it's organized. So file management is a good way to work. It means that everyone has their files neatly packed away and everyone knows where to go. Later on, when the project gets quite large, things will be self-explanatory rather than confusing. So in this one we have Jamie, Jimmy, Sarah and Simone, and I'll just add myself to it. So this is what you would do in the group project. If you haven't already, just add your own folder. So I'll call mine David, and then that's where I'm going to put my my import. So I would go back up to assets now that I've opened up the groups project, and I will import package. That'll be a custom package that will go typically to where I last exported. And I was looking for Dungeon Greybox. So this should be it here. So I'll open that, and then I'll have an opportunity to choose what I want to import. So I think this is actually already existing in the Jamie folder. But what I can do is just select materials. Okay, it won't let me. So this already exists in the project, and it's indicated that by the tick. So we won't worry about that because we can get it from the Jamie folder, and it already recognized it, which is great. If you have scripts that have the same name as any other scripts in the Unity project, the exact same name, which means the class name in the script is the same as well, you'll have a conflict, and you'll need to adjust the name and the class name of that script or scripts to avoid any conflicts within the project. So I'm going to import that. Everything that's imported will drop in, so it's in the folder person2. It will package it up into the folder that it was in previously. And from here, I could actually go into there, just grab this scene, copy it, and paste it in this circumstance. And then I could probably just get rid of that because there's nothing else I want in there. Keep it all organized. So now I also found out that my materials were in Jamie's, so I'm just going to copy them out. You won't have to do this first up, but that would basically be all the assets imported into your folder, and now you're ready to work in your scene. So let's just say with this one, blank scene, I don't need to because I know I already deleted it, but you may need to save your scene before you go to your new scene. And here it is. This is the scene I actually exported from the Assessment 2 version project, and now it's in my Assessment 3 group project. And as I save this, I've now updated my files, and on GitHub I can now push this, so you'll get a commit option at the bottom left as you've seen before, and then you can push all your changes as you update them. That will be part of your development log, so you can keep screenshots of how your development's going, how the menu's going. Remember that menu is a group effort, so you can all help each other out where the position of the menu is on your screen in your game, and most importantly in the main menu as well. Now for the next step of your project, of course you'll want your character to move around, and when I press play, I think my camera's just there, it's not going to do anything except for show me a static shot with my character just out of screen. So I'm going to want to bring in an asset that will allow me to run around. In this kind of game, I'd probably, if I had an enemy in this, like in the roller ball and block collectible demo that we have in Module 4, I would want a first person because it'd be more intense and upfront, and rather than have a third person and have that user experience of detachment of the character. With a first person, you are the character. Alternatively, you can use third person assets. What I would recommend is on Discord, you've actually got a whole bunch of assets in your asset folder here, right? And I've dumped them all in there. These are just suggestions. For the first person view one, it's going to be very, very easy to work with, because all you have to do is have any interactables like collectibles, just attach them, just correlate them to the rigid body capsule of the character. So if we were to do, let's say, the modular first person controller, I think that's got a jump, so that's always fun. I don't think the mini first person has a jump, so let's go with this modular first person controller. So if I wanted to bring in a character controller asset, I would go to Window, Package Manager. Before that, I would have gone to the Unity Assets store website, and while I'm signed in there, I would have added this free asset, which you'll find the link in the Discord. You just click on here, and I'll quickly show you that. So then you would add it here, and then you would accept it when it pops up. And this is basically what it looks like. This will be the demo scene that it shows. It's quite simple. And that means you can just get moving on your game development quite quickly in this sprint. I've already added it to my assets, so modular first person controller. I'm going to go to my assets here because they're different lists of assets. My assets, modular first person, might come up here. Modular first, there it is, person controller. Now we see that's 366 kilobytes, it's hardly anything. It's not going to affect the project. The large files I would recommend opening up in another, maybe your assets 2 project, and then import them the same way I exported that scene, so that you can control what comes in and minimize the file size, because the bigger the files in your group project, the slower it's going to be for everyone. So you want to optimize your project by only importing the minimal amount of files you need. So for this one, it's very small. We're good with that. It does have a adjustment to the project settings. So you will just need to, if you were to build this for itch.io, then you would have to change the project settings at the end. I'm also going to have access to the repo, so there is another way I can actually play it. So let's just import this into this project. I may have already installed this, but that's okay. I'm getting a few issues here, but they're not critical. They're just the orange ones. So we'll just check them out. So we've already imported it. We get rid of that asset, package manager, that's what it's called. Package installed. Use new keyboard if hiding was intended, that's fine. Use the new keyboard, that's fine. So it's just an issue with controls. In terms of getting the actual the character, I think we need to do 2 main things. So we'll go to the assets and we'll find it. Here it is here. What I'm going to do is just drop it into packages installed. Right, modular first person, here it is. Just so we're keeping all the files organized. Here's a demo scene inside, and there's the demo scene. And generally for a controller, I want to find the player. So there it is there. It's actually a capsule, but it's only showing the collider. And you'll see that it has a rigid body as well. That's going to come in handy if you're doing a collectible game and following that tutorial from Module 4. So what I would do in this one, it looks like I only have to copy one game object that contains everything. And it looks like it's a prefab as well. So this would be the prefab you could drag into any scene. You could copy that or just drag that in. So let's just copy this, go back to assets, go back to my folder, to my scene, and now I want to add, it's quite a lot of game objects in there now. Just want to add a controller, so there it is there, just so I have everything organized. I might bring it up the top next to the camera, which I'm going to delete. I'm going to get rid of the camera because inside of this should have a camera. There it is there. So you can see that camera is showing that, and this camera is there. You should only have 2 cameras active, and I believe you can have multiple cameras as long as you only have one active one at a time. If you have multiple audio listeners active, then that can be a problem and bring up some errors. That's all right. For this particular sprint or development, we only need one camera, and that's going to be attached to the actual player. So we can see the player is not ideally positioned. We'll just get them out. We want to make sure they're on the ground there. So we'll just check that the y-axis is 1, and that looks good. The maths and everything looks okay. So we will press play and be able to play the game. So I'm looking around as a first person. I can actually jump here, so that's good. Obviously, I would replace all of these environment grey box cubes with actual walls, or I might actually use some of them and put a material that has a texture, like a brick wall texture or something like that, up on them. As long as you have a functionality of the main menu, so it's all about UX principles. The main menu where you start and you begin. If your heads-up display, your menu in-game, is very similar to the rest of your groups, that's great, because it demonstrates that you're all working together and keeping that user experience consistent throughout, and similar like hierarchies of the menu system as well is also good. It's good practice because the user is going to be expecting that and used to that after the first level played. So I'm just going to press Control P to stop it. So we now have a controller in that scene, so we could get rid of that stand-in. All right, so that's replaced. And then we may want to replace all these assets. So let's say with this wall, I have previously brought in and dragged the package, I believe it's dungeon. Yeah, so here are some scenes. So this is a package. Let's have a look at the list here. I think it's this one, the N Gone Forge. And I know one student wants to build something similar, and it's compatible with the version of Unity that we're using, as well as the render pipeline that we're using, which is the built-in. So in here, I'll just show you this. So yep, I'll save that. Now in the Universal Render Pipeline, this package actually has Universal Render Pipeline and built-in. So this is what Universal Render Pipeline looks like. It's got a default material because it can't render it through using the built-in in our project. So we don't need to worry about that. We just need to go to the scene that is using the built-in, and this one is. So the great thing about some of these packages, or most of them, they should have an overall scene like this where you can just go kind of shopping for your parts, and that could be anything like trees or rocks. If you wanted like a character to jump from rock to rock, I think there's another material down here like this. You could have rocks up like that, and then maybe build terrain up around it. That's one idea. So in this one, I would probably look for a low-lying wall, something like that, or even these blocks, but for the sake of a quick development, which of course this iteration of the development is, I'm just going to select that. It's got a box collider, which means my character will run into it with its rigid body and stop. And its collider will stop on that collider. It's not a trigger, so that's great. So let's copy that one. You can either select it here or in the hierarchy. And then we will go back to my folder, to my scene, and paste that in. I want it over here. So let's just get that into the scene first. I'd love to tidy all this stuff up as well, so I might just create an empty and bring it out so it's separate from everyone else. Select all of the cubes that are just taking up way too much space, and then organize my hierarchy so that it's all in the one. I can still select them individually, but it means I can just get organized here. And then now in the hierarchy, I'll just paste in that I will put up in the transform 0, 0, 0. Just to find it, press W, select it again, press W, there we go. And I can see it's a little small compared to what I really want. So I'm going to move that on the 90 degree. And then I'm going to up the scale by about 5. Just to see, yeah, maybe drop it down to 3. Have a closer look. Maybe 2. 3 for that. And 3 for that. See if we can work with that. So it's quite similar in size. So I would just drag that over. I know I can now get rid of that. If it had to be specific, I could really align it perfectly. Take out the other one, and then what I can do is Control D, and then bring that down like that. Now, you may need to, with something like this, you might have to adjust it or pick another asset that fits that space properly, but that's perfect. So when I Control S, save, and test play, I'll now see that I've got that asset in place, and I may even be able to jump over it. No, because the collider's square, it's a cube. Yeah, so trying to hack it. So that's a typical way you will be able to bring in your assets and build up your scene. I would be more interested in making sure that you pretty much, after you've got your player in, make a beginning and an end. So then you've got an end loop for the user experience. And what I mean by that is your scene begins and your scene ends, and it loops around through the menu. So when you complete the mission, maybe you just got to run from an enemy all the way from the beginning, and you get your speed increases by collecting items, maybe, or you set off traps for it and slow it down, and which might mean that these walls move in the way of it, and then it has to go around them. and then you might get chased by an enemy all the way here, or you need to collect items from the beginning all the way, to the end over here, let's just say. And at the end, of course, something's got to happen, which would be the menu pops up and gives the player then an opportunity to either exit or maybe replay. So that would be the game loop, the menu loop that I'll be looking for. That's a crucial part in the user experience. I would complete that first before really getting into too much detail in your game scene. And then I would also concentrate on the documentation so that you get all of that set up and ready for you to make a presentation for the last submission as part of this assessment 3. And then if you have more time, you can then expand each aspect of assessment 3 to up your level of quality to a professional level. And basically you should approach the assessment that way. So yeah, if you have any questions, please send them through. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next class. Thanks.